Hi, I'm Gene McLaughlin. I'd like to welcome you to Old Bridge Day. This is the official start of the fall season here in the township. It's a day when the residents come out to celebrate, to meet other people, to enjoy the vendors and the crafters, to eat good food, and to treat their children to some rides and games. We're going to be taking the camera around, give you a little overview, a little flavor of what's going on today, so please stay with us. Hi, I'm with Nancy Cohen, who is the director of the Old Bridge Public Library. Nancy, good to see you today.
Good to see you, Gene, as always.
Nancy, tell us about this vehicle we see behind us here, something new.
Yeah, it is. It's our mobile services van, and we're going to be taking it around Old Bridge to basically get to people that could use our services and materials. We're starting off with a lot of preschools as the first effort, and then we will be going around the town, taking it to apartments and senior facilities and a bunch of other places to basically get to people, who need information and entertainment and recreation.
Nancy, to that point, do you actually lend books from the library when you make the stops at the senior places?
We're going to be loaning everything that we bring to people. We will basically have them pre-checked out in bins. I'm going to be bringing the bins to the different places and dropping bins off and then picking up the old stuff that we dropped off from the time before. So I think it'll help not only circulate our material, but reach a lot more people, kids and seniors and those folks in between than we're reaching right now.
Nancy, I know you're still continuing the Saturday concerts. We've been taping them for you.
Yes.
Good crowds.
Yeah, the crowds are great. We're averaging about 125 people, sometimes more because the concerts are so popular that people are actually sitting outside the room looking through the back doors. We are planning on doing a renovation in the room as well to make the acoustics and the projection system better also.
Nancy, how do you select the talented peers? It seems a very varied group of people have been before the audiences.
I think I've achieved the Ed Sullivan status of the library world because most people pitch to me like you wouldn't believe. I get packages and press kits and all kinds of stuff several times a week. So it's actually, initially it was a little tough, but now I'm basically beating them off with a stick to perform here. So Old Bridge has a great reputation. For sure.
A couple years ago, you started this idea farm. How is that going?
It's going real well. We do a lot of 3D printing classes and vinyl cutting classes. We have a soldering class coming up. One of our more robust components is the sewing component. We've got about 20 machines, and we basically have probably a couple of hundred people a month taking classes for sewing. We also have the gardening component, so we grow food in the garden that we use in our food programs. I think overall it's going really well. We're actually always looking to add new components to the idea farm to keep things fresh and new for people. I actually have a speaking engagement in October at a private school that's looking to start one. So I think, the movement is basically gaining a lot of speed for maker spaces.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us, Nancy. Continued success, and I'm sure we'll see you at the next entertainment program.
Thanks so much. You certainly will.
I'm with Karen Chen, who is the shelter coordinator for the Old Bridge Animal Shelter. Karen, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me here.
Karen, in terms of animals that are available for adoption, can you give us a little overview? Dogs versus cats. How many dogs, how many cats you have?
Right now, I have 3 dogs available for adoption, and I have 60 cats in the shelter, 30 outside at the foster home. And we actually encourage people to come to the shelter because we do have a great dog. The only thing is they are big and they're looking for special family. And if anybody interested, please come to the shelter, meet them in person. And we have 2 dog park. You can spend time with them and put an application. And after you put the application, then we will do the home visit. And if everything okay, then we will, do the finalize the adoptions.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Karen, what is the input? Where do you get most of the animals from that are in the shelter? They strays or they turned in?
Usually it's stray and sometimes surrender. It depends on our space. So most of the time it's somebody's found the dog on the street, and then we wait for 7 days, and then nobody claim, and after 8th day will be our property. Then
Okay, you mentioned an application process. People have to fill an application, and then you do what? Visit their home?
Yeah, so then we will go to the home visit and we'll check the house if if they have fan and for safety for both party, like for dog or and family. And if something they need to be careful, then we remind them to take care of that before the dog going their house.
Okay, well, thank you, Karen. One more thing, if you would. What are the hours? If people want to come to the shelter, what are the hours? When can they visit?
Okay, shelter opens 7 days a week and 10 to 12, 1 to 3. And if you want, you can call and we can set up a schedule to meet with you or something like that. You know, any feedback, you can also send an email to animalcontrol@oldbridge.com.
Okay, well, thank you, Karen. Good luck with those animals. Hey, you're
Thank
doing a
you.
great job over there. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Hi, I'm with Anna Phelps, who is the Food Bank Volunteer Coordinator. Anna, thanks for coming out today. Anna, help us out here. What is the food bank's function? What do you do?
We operate a food bank for Old Bridge Township residents. We are funded by the township, I should say. We get grants and different donations, monetary or food items from different organizations around the town. We work with about 175 clients, but when you add all their families, we serve probably about 1,000 people in the town. So it's a pretty big job.
Well, I see by the list you're handing out here, you have a rather extensive list of items that are needed. Would you just touch on a couple of them, the most critical needs?
Absolutely. Right now we are looking for holiday type items, stuffing, cranberry sauce, mashed potatoes, corn. We always are looking for frozen turkeys and frozen hams for the holidays. So those we are very equipped to handle all that. We have refrigerators and freezers and all that to handle those items. But throughout the year, we're always looking for anything you could think of: cereal, peanut butter, syrup, pancake mix, pasta sauce, anything you could think of.
You rely quite heavily on volunteers, too, and volunteer donations as well, right?
Yes, we do. We work very closely with the schools, and we are able to get volunteers from them, and also they host food drives for us through the schools. I also have a set of volunteers that come every day, Monday through Thursday, from 10 to 12, that work with our clients, giving them food, getting donations ready. And on the weekends and around the holidays and during the summer, I love to use my student volunteers from the high school, Interact Club, Key Club, all those different clubs from the high school always come out to help us on the weekends, so we love it.
And at this time of year, Thanksgiving is around the corner, Christmas is right behind it. How critical is the need?
The need is actually much higher. People don't realize how difficult the holidays may be for the clients. They're looking to feed their families, and then for some of them, it's difficult to be able to put that nice Thanksgiving dinner together, or around the holidays and Christmas and Hanukkah, buying the gifts for the children, and then they go without food because they want to be able to provide for their children. So it's difficult, but we help them as much as we can. So.
Thank you, Anna. What are the hours if people do want to avail themselves of your services? What hours should they be there?
Our hours are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for our clients from 10 to 12. And all they need to do if they are interested to join our food bank, if they require our services, they could visit our website, www.oldbridge.com/foodbank, or they can always give us a call and they could find all the information right online.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Well, we're at it. How about we say hello to the volunteers?
Sure.
Okay, we're here with two volunteers right now who help Anna perform the functions of the food bank. Would you give us your name, please?
I'm Fable.
And your?
Julia.
Julia. And what do you do with the food bank?
We sell food
You help clients?
and help clients.
And help clients, okay. How long have you been doing this?
Well, we did this last year. Too. Yeah.
And Julia, how about you?
Yeah, I started last year too.
You enjoying yourself helping people out? Okay, well, great job. Thank you for coming out and offering your services. Thank you. And Anna, thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm standing here with Officer Patrick D'Onofrio of the Old Bridge Police Department. Officer D'Onofrio, at a recent council meeting, Chief William Volkert assigned you to a newly created job. You want to share it with the residents?
Yes, I've been currently assigned to a community relations position where I'll go out and do programs in these schools and towns. So currently we teach a drug education program in 14 schools, all of our public elementary schools and the 2 Catholic schools, which it's in the in the classes, in the 5th grade classes, but we also do visitations through K through 4. I'm working on right now doing programs with the middle school and bringing programs into the high school. At every back-to-school night this year, we handed out information due to the current opiate epidemic, and we also have presentations set up for parents currently in both Catholic schools, both middle schools, and we're setting on one for the high school.
Officer D'Onofrio, you just referred to the opiate program and some of the abuses taking place. Can you share a little more with us, our residents, please?
The residents really need to be aware of the opiate problem in general. Myself, I was at 2 trainings this week and brought back a lot of stuff. Number one, the number of people dying is astronomical. Across the country, it's 169, I believe, a day. That equals to a plane crash every 3 days. We need to start in the home. The police departments could work with the schools. Parents need to talk to their kids. But the first thing you got to do is clean out your medicine cabinets. We all have unused medications in our house. Kids are starting using that, and they're getting hooked on the opioids and painkillers. And then when that gets too expensive, they're switching to heroin. The price of a deck of heroin right now in New Jersey is approximately $5. Also, if you speak to a lot of your heroin users and ask them what was the first drug they used, they're telling you it was marijuana, because the marijuana now has so much synthetic stuff in it, the THC levels are astronomical. And even when you're talking about legality, yes, Colorado, for example, marijuana is legal, but they just released all the facts, and it shows how their car crashes have increased, deaths on ski slopes, and petty crime. So it's a direct relation to legalization of marijuana.
Is there a new view of this whole situation, though? I read more and more, Officer D'Onofrio, that this is more a disease than a moral failure or a crime. Is that the way it's being treated now?
Yes, they're trying to take different looks at it. We're not going to arrest ourselves out of this problem. It is a medical issue, but it's a community thing that has to affect it. We have to figure out ways to divert these people out of the court system and get help. And it's really got to be a partnership with communities, law enforcement, government, and the medical field. There are current trends in New Jersey. There's an emergency room currently up in Patterson that just went totally opiate-free. Starting next year, several of your medical schools, and I believe Robert Wood Johnson is one of them, is also requiring that students have to take classes on prescription and pain management. New Jersey is also one of the only states that has a drug monitoring program where they keep track of prescriptions. And currently, Pennsylvania is thinking about partnering with New Jersey so doctors can check, or the pharmacist can check a person's prescription to make sure they didn't just fill another opiate prescription somewhere else. The training I was at on Thursday, I thought the psychologist said something kind of neat. She said, the drug user is the one with the problem and the opioids are his solution, because they're saying if you try to go detox for heroin right now, it's basically you having food poisoning and the flu at the same time. And if you talk to someone who's gone through it, and they'll tell you every day for the rest of their life, they either have to go to a meeting, speak to their coach. So there's a lot of different stuff out there, and for people who are out there battling this addiction, be willing to try different places. Also, families, a lot of pharmacies are making Narcan available now. You can ask a doctor to write you a prescription and just be aware how to administer the Narcan. There's different ones, like the one we use is nasal, but there are auto injectors. Just double check if your insurance covers it. But as I said, the big thing is the medicine take back. Get the old medications out of your house. You can bring them out of headquarters 24/7, drop them in the mailbox. And also in October, we're going to do the DEA take back.
Okay, Officer D'Onofrio, thank you very much for sharing this with us. Much luck in the new assignment.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
I'm with Karen Tortorici, who is the program coordinator for the Old Bridge Municipal Alliance for the Prevention of Substance Abuse. Karen, you've been a frequent guest on our shows. What's going on now?
We're promoting our Dropbox, Gene, which is a magnet that I'm giving out to all our residents. Take it to the box. Lieutenant Robert Greenway was instrumental in bringing our Dropbox right here to our Old Bridge Police Department. You could come right through our town hall doors 24/7, and drop off your unused medication. You just black out your name. It's disposed of properly, and the DEA comes in and burns it so it doesn't harm the environment.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Karen, we were just talking to Officer Patrick D'Onofrio, who has just been assigned to the job of Community Relations Officer. He was talking at some length about the opiate abuse in the township.
Yes.
In your slot, what are you finding?
I'm finding that prevention is one of our best tactics that we could use, and speaking to the doctors and the pharmacists and the dentists in town about the prescriptions that they're giving out, and talking to them about just the general information that the Surgeon General is getting out there concerning the prescription drugs, and how maybe just giving 3 days of pain med and then coming back to see if you need any more might cut it down a little bit on the prescription drug abuse.
I also understand that there's much more emphasis these days on treating drug abuse as a disease rather than as a moral failure or as a crime. Are you in that box there?
Well, I could say one thing about that, Gene. I've seen children who were given a prescription drug because they had their wisdom teeth removed or they had a sports injury who are innocent. And after a week, they start to get where you could really be addicted in 3 days to an opiate. After a week, they become addicted, and these are innocent children, so I wouldn't want to see them being labeled as a drug abuser.
Karen, I see on your booth here you have an action plan. You want to take us through this, please? What is it all about?
Well, we'd like to start with that the search begins in your home. There's, I was speaking to a lot of people here today that have a bag of prescriptions in their house that they just don't know what to do with. They don't want to harm the environment. They don't want to flush them down the toilet. So they're actually welcoming that we have this drop box. So we wanted to start with that, call attention to that. Also ask them to advocate for us, to tell their friends and their neighbors and their family about our drop box as well. So we could possibly cut down on the prescriptions getting into the wrong hands.
Okay, well, Karen, thank you very much. You're doing a fantastic job. You're always welcome on TV 15, as you know. Good luck.
Thank you so much, Gene. Thank you.
Folks, I'm here with Maureen McLaughlin right now. No relation. Maureen is the director and the founder of Families Against Addiction. Maureen, always a pleasure to see you. How is it going?
Oh, everything is wonderful. We have new programs that we're trying to get started. I would like to speak about that.
Yeah, please, Maureen, share with us. I know you're very active in so many areas, but since this is a new addition and a new program for you, tell the residents about it.
As I said, Gene, we have a new program that we're trying to get off. This new program will be focusing not just on the family members, it will focus on the addict. For instance, if they're coming out of a prison, or if they're coming out of a jail, or they're coming out of a rehab for the umpteenth time, we are going to help them. We're going to help them start out and get started with a job. And the first step will be starting with the resume. We're going to help them know how to write a resume, how to begin and understand how to talk to somebody with an interview. We're going to help them, and we're going to give them a scholarship, either to probably a month for a sober living house or a halfway house. We will scholarship them. They will be monitored. They would have to come to our meetings every week. They will have to be drug tested. They will also have to be willing, absolutely willing, Gene, in order to want to stay in the program, to stay clean. There's other avenues that we can go down with the Vivitrol, the Suboxone, and there's various things we would discuss during these meetings. And this is all taking place, and hopefully within a month or two, we will have this going and up and running.
Okay, thank you, Maureen. Maureen, tell me about your stand right now on this explosion of heroin abuse here in the community, here in New Jersey. Where are you at on this?
I'm very passionate in speaking about how our kids are dying, and that it happens to almost anybody. You don't have to come from a family that has such dysfunction. You can come from a family that is very, very loving and very diligent and always around your children. It happens to anybody. So I tried to reiterate to everybody, it can happen to you, and please don't have the attitude, not my kid, because someday it could be you. It could be you in various ways. Maybe your child is taking drugs and you're unaware and you're in denial, or maybe you're being robbed in your home. Either way, you're affected by this drug epidemic that has plagued our community and all the communities across the country. What I do here in Old Bridge is I help, and I try to help the families. I educate, I change the way they think and communicate in their family life, and I help them live a better, healthier living, and reunite the family is what I'm trying to say.
Well, Maureen, thanks for being with us today. I want to salute you once again on the great work you're doing for the behalf of the community and the people that have these addictions. Keep up the good work. Congratulations on what you're doing.
Thank you, Gene, and thank you for helping me spread the word and letting everybody know in Old Bridge that we do have a problem, and we are here to listen to you. Please come and meet us every Tuesday night in the Old Bridge Library. Thank you again.
I'm here with Ruth Matthew, who is the president of the Community Emergency Response Team of Old Bridge. Ruth, welcome. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Ruth, tell us a little bit about CERT. What do you do? How do you do it?
Well, CERT stands for Community Emergency Response Team. And what we do is when there's like any kind of any type of like emergency, we come out and help. Really, we get activated by Tom Garrity, who's our OEM coordinator, and he calls us and we come out and help. Like we've helped out during Sandy. We ran the shelter for 2 weeks there, and during the Hernandez parade, we helped out then. So we help out anywhere that we can.
Ruth, you have a wide variety of tasks that you're assigned to, I take it, huh?
Yes, we do. We could go from shelter to light search and rescue, like if somebody gets lost. We've been called out several times just to help people out. What was it, a couple of years ago, there was a person that was missing, and they called us out, and we went out into the woods, and we searched. Unfortunately, we didn't find him, but he was found, and one state over. So,
tell me about your training. What kind of training do you go through in order to do this job?
Okay, well, the trainings that we get a 8-week training, which is 1 day a week, one Monday nights for 2 hours, and we go from fire suppression, first aid, CPR, and various type of trainings, and most of them is hands-on. And also too, afterwards, once you become a CERT member, we get trained like on a regular basis.
Okay, and lastly, you're a volunteer organization.
Our volunteer organization is Old Bridge CERT.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, it's the best volunteer organization there is.
Well, I'm glad you're saying that, Ruth. I want to thank you for joining us today and continue good luck in your job.
Okay.
I'm joined now by Fire Marshal Tom Garrity. He is the Fire Marshal of District 1 and 2. And Tom, good to see you again.
Same here, Gene. Good to see you as well.
Tom, I understand from a previous conversation we just had that you are now responsible for the CERT group. Tell us about that.
That's true. The CERT group is the Community Emergency Response Team. Now it falls under OEM, which I am the coordinator of. They've been in existence for a number of years now. And what that is, people that volunteer their time during times of disaster. It could be flooding, it could be hurricanes, it could be snowstorms, tornadoes, you name it. These people are an extension of the emergency services in our town, police, fire, and EMS, and they help us out when times are tough. Everybody is short during the day anymore, and any hands that we can get that are semi-trained, they're not trained to the full level of the normal responders, but they do have some training, and we have them do a lot of things with our emergency services. One of the big ones, of course, is sheltering when we have major events in town.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Tom, I know in addition to the OEM job, you have your basic job as Fire Marshal.
That's true.
And you have behind us here a rather elaborate display.
We have an old gas dryer that years ago we had a dryer fire in the house. We took that dryer and we made a display, and the display went over so big that it turned into this trailer. So we always start with our gas dryer about cleaning out the lint each and every time that you use it. Everybody always goes and cleans out the lint in their dryer by taking the filter out and pulling the lint off of it. But what people don't realize is that in here there's a little rubber gasket, and sometimes the lint and dirt get past the filter, and they build up. And that is where you can't see, which is underneath the dryer. And what you're seeing down here is the lint that builds up over time. Depending on how many times you use a dryer in a week, the more you use it, the more lint builds up. It's just like if you take a balloon and you rub the balloon on your head and you stick it to a wall, it will stick there. The lint does the same thing because the atoms are turning, because the electric motor in there, it tends to stick to the walls, to the wire, to whatever it can get attached to, and that over time builds up, and that's where you get dryer fires from. So my recommendation, and I've been talking about this for years, always check your dryer. You can check your dryer by looking, if you have it enclosed in a closet or an area, you can look at the walls. Sometimes the walls will show signs of lint buildup. You can look underneath where you'll see lint comes up and dust comes up. And if you're seeing it around the dryer, it's almost a guaranteed thing you have it in the dryer. So you either need to have the dryer professionally cleaned, or if you're extremely handy, you can do it yourself. But we kind of recommend that you get somebody that really services dryers to do the work, and to do it maybe quarterly. If you do 3 or 4 or 5 loads a day because you got a lot of kids, then you need to do that more often. Another point that people don't understand a lot of times is this is what happens when they allow the lint to build up. It'll actually clog the ductwork that comes off of the dryer and goes out to what we call a bird cage, which is this white plastic case here. But first, utilizing the correct ductwork is extremely important. This is over here on our left is hard duct pipe. Okay, this is what we like to see in houses. Second best is the flexible aluminum. Okay, and the worst, and what as soon as people tell me if they have it, is the plastic ductwork that's all the way up in the back corner there. That is extremely dangerous. You get a small fire from lint in there, and you are going to have a fire in your house. With this other ductwork, the hard pipe especially, you could even have a fire in your house, and that fire will go out a lot of times in that ductwork just because the metal is not going to burn. It runs out of air, the fire goes out. So my recommendation is, besides checking your dryer, make sure that you have good ductwork. You check that, make sure that that's cleaned, and you always check on the outside of your house, that exterior thing where it comes out, where the lint comes out, that what we call a birdhouse. All right. If you see lint there, it's all the way back inside the dryer.
Okay, what should we look at next, Tom?
Well, as the holidays are coming now, Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving, we all know that the decorative lights go up. That's one issue, and a lot of people don't understand when you put them decorative lights up outside, they're meant for a short period of time. Most people put them on aluminum railing or metal, and of course that's a conductor of electricity. If you have a problem with that wiring, it shorts out, you could have a major issue, especially through all of the weather. And the sun plays a major part to break down the wire, so that's where you really get the problem. But another thing that we like to talk about is the candles that now have become more popular again. Candles, incense. Candles are safe. It's a matter of where you put them in the house and the type of candles you use. For instance, over here where you would see the smaller candle, this was an actual candle that was in the house, that the person had put the candle on the end of a sofa. And as soon as that person moved that sofa, the candle fell down in between the seats and had a major fire. They lost the house, but we were able to salvage that because that fell down, and that was what with the remains of probably a 6-inch candle at the time. When we talk about candle safety, I always tell people if it's thin like a pencil, think about trying to stand a pencil up on end. You can't do it. So what I recommend is what you see back here is a wide-based, heavy-based candle. The bigger, the better. The wider, the better. And that's a safe place to have a candle. The other thing is its location. If you put that on top of a metal stove, the stove is meant to have fire. You're going to be much safer than putting that on a wooden table, low to the ground where maybe a dog's tail can knock it over, or a cat, or whatever. So you always want a good hard metal surface if you can. a good heavy metal or glass base with a large candle.
Thank you, Tom. Tom, what about oven fires, stove fires? Are they popular or prevalent?
Fire pits, they are becoming very popular, especially on decks. And what people don't understand about them, because while they are also out in the weather, they tend to rust out on the bottom. And all you need is a little bit of that hot ash to drop down onto the decking material, and you have a deck fire. If they're out in the yard and you have a large yard, you know, in some parts of town we have eaves crossing each other because the houses are so close. If you have a large piece of property, an acre, and you have, 50 foot in the back of your yard, a 50 by 50 area, you're good. But if you have a 10-foot backyard, you got to use common sense, and you got to always think about which way that smoke is going so that it's not affecting your neighbor. We try, it is regulated by fire code. We would always recommend to keep away from the house as far as you can and use good judgment.
Okay, Tom, thank you for joining us today. Appreciate it. Keep up the good work. Always good to have you in.
Always my pleasure, Gene. Good to see you.
We hope you've enjoyed watching the program, watching the interviews we've conducted here today. We want to thank you for tuning in. We want to urge you to tune in to Old Bridge Channel 15, FiOS Channel 22, and keep track of us. And you can also see the channel on YouTube. Thank you again for watching. I'm Gene McLaughlin. Take care.